Hello and welcome back to another devlog on Magic Life Sim and Puppeteer, my game's procedural animation system, which is also my undergrad comp sci Capstone. We're getting closer and closer to the final deadline, but I've got some fun news. Usually for Capstone, we each do a 15-minute presentation with a 5-minute Q&A on undergraduate research day. That's about 2 weeks before finals. And I figure I would need an extra 2 weeks just to prepare, which wouldn't leave us with much time for actual development. But I got supremely lucky. There are far too many people in our class, so instead we're doing poster presentations on research day, plus a 15-minute video submission, and that one's going to be due around finals.
Alright, so now, if you're one of my professors, I'm gonna need you to skip forward about 15 seconds, no reason at all, I promise. Alright, since a poster session takes way less prep time, I'm pushing my user testing phase back more to focus more on the demo. The trade-off is that March was supposed to be for abstract and poster write-up, but I've got experience with academic research, so I'm feeling pretty good about the whole process.
Something that didn't quite make it into last week's video is a new creature, a little dragonfly. With the jelly shroom's behavior being tied to the player, I wanted a more passive creature at the ready for when I build the creature catching system. On the game design side, one of the first things you learn is that randomness doesn't automatically make things fun. Now imagine you've got all your ingredients except a dragonfly, but you finally find one. And then it flies out of bounds because it just randomly went there. That's no fun. So we'll have the dragonfly check whether it's heading too far away from its spawn position. And if it is, we'll do some vector math to redirect it back. I'm pretty happy with this little guy. Now in the last video, I mentioned I hadn't used finite state machines for behavior before, and I think I'm starting to get the hang of it, especially on the organization side. Right now, all of my states access their variables through their brain script. Although this lets me tweak variables in the inspector, my file is an absolute mess with multiple state-specific variables. My new approach uses partial classes, which allow you to find a class across multiple files. For each state's file, we'll add a partial class to store all of the variables specific to that state. Besides the shared variables, I can see all the fields I should work with. The big downside of partial classes has to deal with the inspector though. So, pop quiz. How does Unity choose which partial class to draw first? If you guessed random, you're correct. And if I had to work with messy code or a messy inspector, I would hands down choose the messy inspector. Now the next thing to talk about goes all the way back to my fall presentation. The pose-to-pose system needs some heavy updating, which isn't surprising since it was all thrown together in a week. So let's rewrite the whole thing in a week, but this time with hindsight. We'll create a new component called skeleton joint that caches a transform's position, rotation, and scale. When we make a new pose file, we take the skeleton joint's current state and subtract out its rest state. We'll also use a special identifier in each skeleton joint to build a lookup table for our next thing, which is the pose file. The old system had me assigning all the pose files into an array on the driver to interpolate between them. If I had multiple variants of the same creature, I would have to go to each variant to make the change. Instead, we'll create a new scriptable object called pose collection. We'll give it the responsibility of holding the pose array and the interpolation between them. Now the pose driver, the component actually drivable by a puppeteer, has the responsibility of holding the pose collection and the references for all the skeleton joints. After calculating all its transformations, we propagate that frame's animation to the joints. Then the rest of Puppeteer can do its thing, like squash and stretching or the inverse kinematics of planting your feet on the ground. With all this together, let's test it out by taking our bean and transforming it into our true character model. I made some tiny adjustments to 3D models, mainly with hair, but it's still super high poly, but that's because I've got an idea for later, and later as in after Capstone, so it's gonna be a long minute. In Unity, we'll create our pose files for a new run cycle. Now, I was hoping that I could write a function to mirror quaternions. I couldn't figure it out. But again, we're a little short on time for another quaternion journey. Instead, what we'll do is we'll make a copy, scale one axis by -1, and then just match it up as best as we can. After some fun attempts at debugging transform math, we've made a run cycle without Unity's Animator system. I've got another feature in the works, and this one has to deal with blending math to control the influence of poses on a per joint basis. I just wrapped up the first implementation pass, but I'm out of time this week for further work as I'm going to be editing this video very rapidly before Tuesday.
Thank you all so much for watching and for your continued support with the game's development. Even though Capstone has been taking away all the focus on the project, including the actual gameplay systems, it's so crazy to see this amount of support onto the project. For that, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.